And the Nationals starting lineup brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Couple of former Braves in there, including Willie Harris right off the top. Pete Orr all the way down at number 8, also a former Atlanta Brave. We'll talk about what the Nationals have to do to get better in 2010. 2009 was an issue. They are 57 and 103, though they have won 5 games in a row. Going to be tough to get it to 6 today, Tim. They got to face Jair Jurgens.
One of the top pitchers in the National League, third in earned run average. You will see a guy, that popular expression, pounding the strike zone. That's what Jurgens does. From Willemstad, Curacao.
Where a former Braves great Andrew Jones is from. And in fact, Jair Jurgens is friendly with fellow Curacao native Andrew Jones. Unbelievable stats of late for Jurgens, but right here Willie Harris is going to get him. Into the corner he goes with it. As it's dug out of there by Omar Infante. The afternoon begins with a double off the bat of Willie Harris. Let's check that sprint pitcher profile for the guy leading the league in the letter J, Jair Jurgens.
He has been red hot, 4-0 with an earned run average of .62 over his last 4 starts. A fastball, one of those fastballs, he tried to come inside to Harris, and Willie ripped it down the right field line and poised beyond his years.
Facing Elijah Dukes. Well, someone out of play. We got a couple of 23-year-olds matching up today, Tim. Ross Detweiler, I think you can say the same thing about him. He'll be the starter for the Nats today.
Yeah, I guess when you have that type stuff, you're going to have poise. Stuff comes before poise.
And I comes before E. Except
S after C.
Right.
R is in way. As in children are way.
That's neither here nor there.
Yeah, right.
1-1 to Elijah Dukes. And Jair Jurgens, you mentioned it, that ERA of 0.6 in his last 4. That's part of why the Braves were making that mad dash to the finish line. They just kind of hit that runner's wall. They came up a little short.
Eliminated on Thursday night when the Nationals won 2-1.
But they had won 15 out of 17 before this modest little spin out right now. They've lost 4 in a row. And yeah, the Rockies will not lose. In fact, the Rockies might not be the wild card team as it turns out. They might win the NL West outright.
Jim Tracy's unit 15.5 games back on June 3rd. And if they win the division, it'll be the first time a team 15.5 games back has won anything, either a division or a pennant.
What is alive right now, besides who is the wild card team and who is the NL West winner? Everybody's bunched together in terms of total number of wins, and there is a bit of a race now for best record in the National League, and thus home field advantage. Dukes is going to take a walk. Only once this year has Jurgens really struggled with control. He walked 5 in a game way back in April. That was against the Washington Nationals.
Funny, when you talk about pitching, you always talk about pitchers who have problems with control when they walk a hitter. But that 0-2 pitch to Willie Harris was as much of a problem with control as the walk.
Control and command are two subtly different things, right?
Yes. Control does not only mean throwing pitches out of the strike zone.
There's a strike to Ryan Zimmerman. "33 home runs for Zimmerman. His previous career high was 24. Taken for strike 2, so again Jurgens gets ahead. You mentioned he was not able to finish off Willie Harris. There are some good things happening, believe it or not, regarding these Washington Nationals. Ryan Zimmerman is high up on that list. The guy on deck, Adam Dunn, 38 home runs. I think if the Nationals were a Broadway show, Tim, they've nailed the closing number. They've won 5 straight, but only after the rest of the performance tanked. This 5-game winning streak. Now, they've looked great doing it, too, but that win streak began when they were 52 and 103. That one moves inside to make it 2-2.
Bobby Cox probably thinking this is more like it, not giving Zimmerman nearly as good a pitch on the 0-2 count as he gave Willie Harris.
With the infield, the double play depth, that is just off the plate according to Ron Kulpa, their home plate umpire today. The crew chief, one of the big-time Oregon Ducks fans, is Dale Scott out there at second base. Killing him on a college football Saturday, but he'll do what he needs to do. And for Jurgens, still looking for the first out. Remember the double by Harris, the walk to Dukes. And now right up the middle is Zimmerman. Nate McLeod plays it in. The Washington Nationals take a 1-0 lead, and there's still nobody out.
That pitch, Jurgens wanted to go away, and Ryan Zimmerman drives in his 106th run. In fact, Zimmerman and Dunn, the first time in the history of baseball that a team that has lost 100 or more games has had 2 guys in their lineup with 30-plus home runs or 100 or more RBIs.
Well, I mean, there really are some good things happening, some things to build off of for Washington.
You wonder if Jurgens would have pitched like this, the first 3 guys with Washington, if this game meant something to the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, I mean, I have to imagine that Jurgens can't avoid feeling, let's face it, a bit like you and I felt when we found out that Wednesday or Thursday, okay, this game, we're happy to be here and doing it. It's, I mean, beautiful afternoon in Atlanta and a lot to talk about today, but obviously the hope was this would be a key game. Again, Jurgens gets a couple of strikes, but that has been a dangerous thing to have for him here in the first inning. Twice he's given up a hit with 2 strikes. And with Zimmerman and Dunn as a 3 and 4, part of his Washington order, as you mentioned, Tim, there's some pop. Now that Dukes is getting on base in front of him, things are starting to actually look like a bona fide major league offense happening. In there to strike out Adam Dunn. The 20th pitch of the inning, and finally Jurgens has an out.
That pitch just off the plate away, and Jurgens gets the call. Strikeout number 177 for Dunn on the year. He's always going to strike out 170 to 190 times, but he tries to compensate that with the long ball.
I think there's been a misconception out there for a while that Adam Dunn is basically the new generation Dave Kingman. Lots of homers, lots of strikeouts, but Kingman's on base percentage was .302 for his career. Adam Dunn walks a ton.
Yeah, that's right, and that's how you compensate striking out a lot. If you can walk 100 or more times a year.
He's 6'6", 240. He walks more than the 5'10", 170-pound Ichiro. That ball given a ride by Willingham. Near the track, gathered in by McLeod. There'll be runners at the corners for the Nationals and leading 1-0.
Elijah Dukes tags at second base, rather routine because McLeod coming into second.
Young Ian Desmond will be the hitter. When they get Niger Morgan back and healthy again, too, Niger Morgan will be a guy along with Desmond, Elijah Dukes. Gives them a lot of emerging all-around athletes to just kind of run around out there. That ball getting away and down to second base very alertly is Ryan Zimmerman to make it second and third.
Yeah, that was a good play. And you mentioned Niger Morgan, and what the Washington Nationals should have is a photo in spring training and have it blown up showing Niger Morgan going into third base on August 27th against the Chicago Cubs head first. Every organization should have that to alert their runners that feet first is the only way to go into a base. He fractured his left hand sliding into third base. Ramos Ramirez was there, but those bases do not move.
And Morgan was really coming on, too.
42 stolen bases on the year. Yeah. I cringe, and organizations should, when they see guys come in head first into catchers. Fingers tartar, they call it.
The 2-1 pitch. Rip and a miss, 2-2. I've heard baseball players say that when they watch that movie Major League, when Willie Mays Hayes goes in head first, it ruins the whole movie for him.
Yeah.
At home plate. Long first inning for Jurgens. It's going to be Ross Detweiler on the mound today for the Nationals, who initially was not going to pitch. They were going to shut him down at 147 innings, figuring that's enough for a still developing 23-year-old. They've revisited that, and he will get the start today. We haven't seen a lot of the Washington Nationals, you and I, but boy, they can foul the ball to the right side with the best of them, can't they? It's about 7 or 8 foul balls to that same area here in the first inning. And Jim Riggleman has the gig for now. There's the question, obviously, whether or not that interim tag will be removed. In play in right field this time, Infante, only his third game in right field in the last 2 years, makes a running catch to get Jurgens out of the inning. Lineup brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Nate McLeod, Martin Prado, Chipper Jones, Brian McCann. Then it's Escobar and Anderson, Infante and LaRoche. The pitcher Jair Jurgens. And Ross Detweiler is the second 23-year-old starting pitcher we're talking about in this game. The bunt. And Nate McLeod desperate to bust out now. 6 for his last 56 before that. He finds a way to make it happen. He's on.
That is a picture-perfect bunt by McLeod. Adam Dunn has no play, even though second baseman Pete Orr was covering. So an infield bunt base hit to start off the game on the first pitch by McLeod.
And there are the numbers on Ross Detweiler. His one win was his last start. That was against the New York Mets. He won that 2-1. We'll deal with Martin Prado. Detweiler, the number 6 overall pick in the draft of 2007. Pitching has not been a strong suit for this Washington team. To put it mildly, they are 29th of the 30 big league teams in ERA. That ball pounded foul by Prado.
Every organization, when they're young and developing, that's the first thing you look for, obviously, is pitching. Detweiler, a reason for that back in 2007. And, of course, this year, the highly touted Steven Strasburg, who signed for $16.1 million, which, excluding inflation, is about the cost of our country's purchase of Alaska 104 years ago or so. Forget about inflation now, Josh.
Well, no pressure on Strasburg then. He's just got to be bigger and better than Alaska. Well, the Nationals will have another number 1 overall pick coming as well for 2010.
A lot of people think it could be the young Bryce Harper from Las Vegas, who was featured already on Sports Illustrated's cover. I think cover. There's a big story about Bryce Harper. I believe it was the cover this past year.
I saw the word cover in Sports Illustrated regarding you this week, too. More on that later. That
cover your ears.
We weren't going to get into your singing career quite yet, but we'll get there eventually. We're going to get the Sprint pitcher profile out of the way first. Talk about a guy without a singing career, Ross Detweiler.
Ross still feeling his way, obviously, only 23 years old, left-handed presence. He is from St. Louis, went to Missouri State, and the Nationals are expecting big things out of this talented left-hander.
Spinning Prado out of there at 90 miles an hour. So just like the top of the first, the bottom of the first begins the same way. 2 on, nobody out. And as Chipper Jones comes up, let me ask you this, Tim, because there's so much talk these days about pitch counts and protecting young arms. 147 innings was thought to be the tipping point here for Ross Detweiler at 23. Not even a full generation ago, Doc Gooden at age 20 gave the Mets 277 innings. Not going to wear everybody out by talking about Robin Roberts, with 300-plus innings at age 23 breaking in. But is 147, is that really too much to put on a 23-year-old pitcher?
I remember doing an article for Sport Magazine about 25 years ago.
On the ground, second base. 4, 6, 3. Some recent struggles for Chipper Jones.
Well done by Detweiler. I did an article for Sport Magazine about minor league pitching, and in the research of that article, I checked to see how many pitchers had thrown 150 innings, and at that time there were 7 in the American League. 7 of the American League teams represented in the minor leagues. So I mean, how are you going to pitch 200-plus innings in the major leagues if you don't pitch 150 in the minor leagues? But that I've always contended that. It certainly was not the case years ago, and of course you keep comparing it to years ago because the way to train pitchers has certainly changed in the last generation.
1-0 to Brian McCann. Kurt Schilling had a great line about that a few years ago. He said, pitchers are like dogs. They'll do whatever you train them to do. And starting in the minor leagues, probably a good way to get that training beginning.
Well, training and to develop the arm. I don't think rest develops the arm like a lot of baseball people think. There are very few pitchers who retire that you don't go and ask, what's the one thing you would have done more of had you had to go through it again? And most pitchers will say, I would have pitched more. I would have thrown more.
Well, Detweiler will get over, well, assuming he makes it through a couple innings today. 150 innings for the year between AA, AAA, and the big leagues. Brian McCann has come on. 55 runs batted in since the All-Star break. Talking Atlanta pitching.
Outside.
That is outside, ball 4. And as the Nationals look to build, it's interesting, I think, Tim, because Stan Kasten is the president now of the Washington Nationals, and when the Braves were building what they built all around the young pitching, Stan was here kind of lording over all that, and he'd love to see that same dynamic in D.C., but you actually need guys like Smoltz and Glavine and Avery and Maddox.
Remember when the Braves traded for John Smoltz back in 1987 for Doyle Alexander? Doyle Alexander helped the Detroit Tigers win a division. He was 9-0. But think about what John Smoltz did for this organization for so long, along with, of course, Glavine and Maddox and Steve Avery back in the early 90s. What a trio.
Chop toward short. And the 6-4 fielder's choice to end the inning. 1-0 Nationals on Fox. Outside the bun. And by One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of Major League Baseball, specially formulated for men. Josh Lewin, Tim McCarver in Atlanta, Georgia today for Fox Saturday Baseball. Josh Bard against Jair Jurgens. And things coming a little bit more into focus over these last few days regarding the postseason. We'll get you all the updated scores as we go along today.
Seven of the 8 teams in the postseason have been confirmed. The only thing open, who will win the American League Central? Will it be Detroit or Minnesota?
The left-hand batter wearing number 7. That reminds you of the guy getting it done for Minnesota, the catcher. We'll talk more about the American League and what Joe Mauer has done, but let's talk National League right now. With the St. Louis Cardinals having lost today at home to Milwaukee, what we know out of this is that the Cardinals will not have home field advantage in the first round. They will get the NL West winner, and the Phillies will get the wild card. And again, that wild card is up for grabs right now because the Rockies could actually overtake the Dodgers and win the West.
Right.
The Dodgers are going to the postseason, but will it be as the NL West champs or as a wild card?
Once again, the Dodgers have lost 5 in a row. The Rockies have won 5 in a row.
And it's the former Brave Pete Orr squares the count at 1-1. Just talking Minnesota again for a sec, Tim. Without Justin Morneau, Joe Mauer has put that team on his back, and he's had help. Guys like Michael Kadire, Jason Kubel stepping up.
Jason Kubel.
What a year, huh?
Oh, man. And if the Twins do win the American League Central, it would be tough. And if they face the New York Yankees, they will certainly face the New York Yankees. Justin Morneau batted .346 against the Yankees this year with 3 home runs and 4 RBIs in 7 games.
Orr down on strikes. And the pitcher Detweiler about to bat.
We have to love Jair Jurgens and the future that he has.
Boy, no kidding.
Obtained by the Braves from Detroit in the Edgar Renteria trade.
Gorkys Hernandez, the other guy in that deal. Got to be the first time in baseball history a Jair and a Gorkys were involved in the same deal.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say, yes.
I haven't Googled that, but...
No, I think that's...
that's self-evident.
That's a valid point.
Pitches high to Detweiler. Well, Tim, before we stray too far off that topic of the American League and what the Minnesota Twins might be doing to put themselves in that position to go to the postseason, is Joe Mauer an MVP candidate? He's got to be, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody's talking about Yankees guys, and I get that, but Mauer's already a 2-time batting champion. It's going to be a 3-time batting champion to talk about now. No American League catcher had ever been a batting champ. Strike 3 called to Detweiler. All right, so do you go Teixeira, the former Brave? Do you go Derek Jeter, the face of the franchise in New York, or do you go Joe Mauer?
I think it'll be one of the few times that a New York Yankee will be a contender for the sentimental vote. When you think about it, I mean, rarely do you even talk about the Yankees in sentimental terms. I personally think Teixeira. And you were talking about before the game that you think Joe Mauer. Huh?
I think Mauer. I mean, I don't need to convince you the catcher's position is a reasonably important position.
I mean, to win 3 batting titles is just off the charts extraordinary. When you think about the pounding the left hand takes, a left-handed swinger, and a lot of times your 3rd and 4th times up in a game, your hands are so sore you can't grip the bat. You're hitting with 8 fingers. You hit a lot of lazy fly balls the other way. A lot of people look for reasons why catchers can't hit for a high average. Well, that's certainly one of them. And the better your pitching staff, the more the pounding of your left hand takes.
Willie Harris a wave and a miss. Well, at least you didn't have to catch guys like Bob Gibson and Steve Carlton. So.
Right. Mike Torres. Mike Torres, the last player that Branch Rickey signed. Signed with the St. Louis Cardinals back in 1966, and of course had a remarkable career, and best known for throwing the home run that Bucky Dent hit in 1978.
Deep to left.
With a deep to left, right. Called by Bill White of the Yankees.
Sorry, Red Sox Nation, for bringing that up for no reason.
Hey, that happens.
2-2 the count. Willie Harris, the second former Brave to bat this inning. Will take up and away. He's always performed well here at this field. His career batting average at Turner Field is now .309. After a first inning double today. Runner goes outside, says Ron Culpa. That was the 57th walk for Willie Harris. That's by far a career high for him. Dukes owns the other walk achieved by the Washington team today. Now the Twins and the Royals are scoreless today. Keep you current on that score throughout the afternoon. The Twins, very interesting situation looming there. If there is going to be a one-game playoff, well, the Metrodome is booked on Monday. There's this little thing called Monday Night Football. It just happens to be Brett Favre against the Packers. So the assumption is they'd have to roll that to Tuesday for the one-game playoff if there is such a thing. Justin Verlander expected to get the Sunday start. We're just talking about Joe Mauer and his MVP candidacy.
Yeah, Josh, think about how difficult it is for the Minnesota Twins. They've got to beat Zach Greinke today, and then they've got to hope that the Chicago White Sox can beat Justin Verlander tomorrow. So if those two things happen, then the Minnesota Twins at least tie the American League Central, depending on what the Tigers do tonight.
Last year they had to have the one-game winner take all with the White Sox. That'll be 2 straight years Minnesota goes to game number 163. They lost that one 1-0. Wave and a miss.
That was in Chicago on a home run hit by Jim Thome.
Who now is going to the postseason potentially with the Dodgers.
Yeah. It'll be a lot different, however, if they play that 163rd game this year, because Minnesota will have the luxury of playing before their very loud home crowd.
The strikeout of Elijah Dukes gets Jair Jurgens off the mound. It's still 1-0. Carver here in Atlanta today. It's Garrett Anderson, no stranger to the postseason, all those years he spent with the Angels. He'll lead it off for the Braves, who again have come up just short in their pursuit of another trip to the playoffs. That was just a birthright for these fans for so long. Anderson robbed it short. Ian Desmond fading back and took it away.
Timed perfectly by the 23-year-old Desmond. Garrett Anderson vying for yet another hit north of 2,500. He became the 89th player in Major League history to get 2,500 hits just 2 nights ago. What a remarkable career that man, one of the real gentlemen of the game. Remarkable career he's had.
Now Omar Infante. And the guy that had 16 home runs as a Tiger back in 2004 hasn't showed quite that much pop here in Atlanta. Out of necessity, he's playing right field today. Matt Diaz has been out there, but he's got a jammed thumb. Ryan Church is with his wife Tina. Tina just gave birth to a daughter yesterday, Madison Noel. Strike 2. So it is Omar Infante instead of Church and instead of Diaz as the Braves right fielder. And again, it stays in the infield. 2 down. And a direct TV game break will take you to the Brewers and the Cardinals. And there's hit number 200 on the year for Ryan Braun. It leaves the yard. Brewers go on to win this game. But again, the Cardinals, they've known for a while. They are going to the postseason as the NL Central champs.
Ryan Braun continues to be one of the toughest outs in the National League. Another sensational career. 3rd in a row.
Boy, Detweiler just pouring in the strikes here this inning.
Yeah, he's funky too. A guy that first time I've seen him pitch, and a guy that throws across his body. A lot of times when guys do that, they point that right foot as a left-hander. They point that right foot toward first base. It doesn't clear real well, and it's very deceptive when you're facing him because not too many guys can throw like that because they end up with arm problems. It's a real strain on the outside part of the shoulder when you pitch like Detweiler.
And you better believe there's been a minor league pitching coach or two that has expressed exactly that to him.
Hey, you can see he doesn't really clear that front side. See, when that foot plants, the arm comes around. Players say the foot hits the ground before the arm comes around. I've always found that an interesting terminology.
Detweiler's cooking now. 1-0 he leads. We're back to Atlanta after a word from your local Fox station. great American lager. Here at Turner Field, Jim Riggleman's Washington Nationals on top 1-0. Jim Riggleman was here to see the very first game ever played at Turner Field. He was managing the Cubs. Matched up against Bobby Cox, 1998. Ryan Zimmerman, then Adam Dunn for Washington here in the third. We came on the air today, Tim, talking about Bobby Cox and talking about how in virtually every other franchise's situation, you're going to have some sort of managerial upheaval over the course of at least 7 or 8 years anyway, if not every other year. Not here in Atlanta. Setting the tone for the organization, and with John Schuerholz as the president now, as a GM for all those years. Wonderful working relationship.
Not only that, they have such a close relationship. They were both getting their haircuts this morning when we went in. How about that? That's pretty close when you and your general manager, even though John Schuerholz is the general manager emeritus now, they're getting a haircut at the same time.
Frank Wren wasn't invited to the...
No, I don't think so. There's John and his new do. He is one of the great guys. In fact, we find out before the game that he sings doo-wop down in Naples, Florida with a group. I did not know that.
That floored me. Loved hearing that.
Oh, I love that. Isn't that great?
Ryan Zimmerman down on strikes. Well, Bobby Cox, we talked about it earlier, has managed the Braves 2 different times. And, back then, all due respect, but, then he's trotting out Rufino Linares in left field. And Tommy Boggs is his ace starter. He's had some better times in his second go-around. But has not yet been asked to sing doo-wop. In the left field with that one, Garrett Anderson makes the catch.
Bobby Cox fired after the 1981 strike-shortened season. That season shortened by 52 games when the baseball players went on strike. And who took his place in 1982? Joe Torre. Hired by Ted Turner. And Bobby went to Toronto. And then he returned to the Braves in 1986 as their general manager.
What's just amazing is in the 17, now 18 years of Bobby Cox consecutively managing the Braves, the other 4 teams in the National League East have used 28 different managers.
Wow.
And there Bobby Cox sits.
That puts things into their perspective as far as the Braves are concerned. In fact, that 91 season was when the Braves turned it around, facing the Minnesota Twins in the World Series. And a lot of people consider that certainly one of the best World Series ever played.
One of the best finishes ever, no doubt.
Unbelievable.
Willingham checks and takes a strike. What's interesting to go back and think about is how in the early 90s, the Braves and the Pirates were kind of neck and neck in terms of talent and, where does it go from here? Mm-hmm. And boy, where has it gone since then? 17 straight losing seasons for the Pirates. Strike 3, taken by Willingham. And still, 1-0 Washington, our score. Marlins timeout. He's matched up against Jair Jurgens, who is actually at the plate right now. Jurgens has struck out 6. Right now, though, it's Detweiler with the lead. The Braves can max out at 88 wins if they win today and tomorrow. The best the Nationals can hope for is 59. Up and outside to the pitcher. Jurgens ahead 3-1. There are these 6 strikeouts that Jurgens has achieved so far. Going to take a walk. We are going to get you to a game break. Brought to you by DirecTV. As the Phillies and Marlins have at it. Hanley Ramirez with the double. That off Cole Hamels. Marlins take the lead. Phillies have an answer. Ryan Howard, a solo, his 45th of the year. 3-1 though right now. Back live, McLeod taking one inside.
Fastball up and in to McLeod. I mean, you can't figure these things out. I remember during our first Saturday game in St. Louis, Astros and Cardinals, we were asked to pick who we thought was going to win it. It's kind of interesting to look back on those things. I thought the Cubs in the Central. National League, I thought the New York Mets were going to win it.
They didn't have $80 million on the DL at the time you picked that, though, right? I mean,
yeah, but I got to feel like the Mets, regardless of whether they had $80 million on the DL or not.
On the bag for the out there, but an assumed double play does not happen. The ball simply dropped. Ian Desmond trying to get it out of his glove and make this quick toss. And he probably didn't even have to be that quick about it. It looked like he had plenty of time.
The point is, it's so much fun to look back on this thing 6 months ago. Sports Illustrated had the New York Mets winning everything this year. That was a cover story.
Well, somewhere I'm sure we've got a graphic that will be able to further embarrass you. We can.
No, it's not embarrassing. That word should be eliminated from the language, embarrass, by the way.
Really?
Yes. Yes. Period.
What about shame?
Particularly when it has to do with baseball predictions. There's nothing embarrassing about baseball predictions. And here you go.
You're sure about that?
The Mets, Cubs, Dodgers, Marlins. I was 1 for 4 in the National League.
All right.
In the American League, I had the Red Sox. Forget the Yankees. I had the White Sox. I had the Angels. So I was 3 for 8. And that might be good hitting, but as far as picking is concerned, it's horrible.
All right, but I mean, in fairness here.
You don't have to be fair about it.
Good, but I'm going to try anyway.
All right.
Tampa Bay was a reigning American League champion.
Yeah.
And the Mets spent $1 bazillion to get really good.
And I kind of hopped on the bandwagon on the Marlins, who won their first 11 of 12 games. I still think they are a pitcher away from being a very, very good ball club, and perhaps a contender. But you just don't know. I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, you look at the strengths, weaknesses of a team at the beginning of the season or seasons. Who would have thought the Colorado Rockies would have done what they have done? I mean, they're 74-40 under Jim Tracy.
An amazing turn. Any other words you'd like stricken from the English language before we...
No, just embarrassed. Don't ever say that again when we're working together.
Note to self. Prado is out number 2. All right, Chipper Jones, and I won't say that he's embarrassed about what's going on, I promise, but 0 for his last 17 is not the way he wants to end his season. He's 2 home runs away from getting to 20 for the year. That would be 15 straight years of at least 20, and he'd be the only major league player ever who could say that.
At the beginning of their season, of their careers. He and Eddie Matthews are tied with 14 right now.
Runner is picked off. McLeod sliding right into the tag. The Washington Nationals are out of the inning. Chipper Jones will be leading off next time. It stays 1-0. Show the world it's not like, it's love. Get MLB banking only from Bank of America. By Zantac. Heartburn? Attack it. Zantac. And by Chevy. Ian Desmond, then Josh Bard and Pete Orr for the Washington Nationals here in the fourth inning. Desmond hoisting the first one back and out of play. Jair Jurgen's on the mound. He's got 6 strikeouts already. His career high is 10. And this is his last game that he will pitch, obviously. It's the penultimate game of the 09 regular season. That ball walloped into left field. That ball's going to go. Ian Desmond cranks it out of here, and the Nationals now lead by 2. We talk about the burgeoning talent that the Washington Nationals have. Young guys just kind of stepping out for the first time. And there is Desmond with his 4th big league home run.
Desmond from Sarasota, Florida. He went to Sarasota High down there. And boy, you talk about crushing a fastball here. 15th home run of the year given up by Jurgens. And before the first pitch was on his way, Desmond had cut his eyes down toward third to see if Chipper Jones was deep enough. Probably had an idea about bunting, and now I guess he is glad he didn't.
Yeah, that big swing worked really well.
Man.
2 homers in the last 2 games for Desmond. And the first homer in the last 32 innings allowed by Jurgens.
Well, you talk about a guy who belly buttons the ball. That was Paul Wayner's idea about hitting. Just belly button the ball, show the belly button to the pitcher. That is a great shot of a young hitter belly buttoning the ball.
A naval maneuver. 2-1 the count to Bard. Ground ball right up near the belly button of Adam LaRoche.
It is right here, but what you do when you do that is you clear the front side, and that opens the hips up and allows the hands to come through. Boy, that is a great shot right there. Paul Wainer, when I signed with the Cardinals back in 1959, he was the roving hitting instructor. And I used to love to talk to Little Poison about hitting.
Pete Orr takes up and outside. See, the Phillies still losing 3-1. Kansas City and Minnesota scoreless in the 5th. Foul tip, and boy, they got McCann.
I think that hit Brian in that protective cup, and he'll be given time by home plate umpire Ron Kulpa.
Hey, folks, you can catch all the action of the 2009 MLB postseason on Fox and on TBS. All the excitement begins October the 7th with the Division Series. I'll show you the NLDS schedule going through Tuesday, October the 13th. Those games on TBS, all of them.
The New York Yankees have the option 1 hour after the deciding game has been played. Now, that could be tomorrow in Detroit or Minnesota, or it could be Tuesday afternoon. But 1 hour after the determining game has been played, and all the teams are decided who's going to play in the first round, the Yankees will decide whether they start on Wednesday or Thursday.
Earning that right because they've got the best record. And
right.
You and I were with Joe Girardi a week ago, and he wasn't really tipping his hand that much, but he definitely wanted to take his time and make sure that he was doing what he felt was the right thing to do.
Well, I'll tell you what the Yankees want, and they want to see Justin Verlander pitching tomorrow, because Verlander stands, in my view, as the biggest obstacle to the Yankees advancing. Saying nothing about the Minnesota Twins. They've done a remarkable job, but Verlander twice against the Yankees, I mean, he could beat any team in baseball. Everybody knows that.
He's the only pitcher to have beaten the Yankees this year off that Tigers staff, and the Twins never did beat the Yankees this year. The Twins happened to advance.
Yeah, the Yankees are 12-1 against the Twins and the Yankees combined, and Verlander with the only win.
Ground ball from Detweiler, smothered at short. Escobar throws him out. It stays 2-0 Washington today on Fox. in-game box score for the Braves. Introducing the all-new 306 horsepower rear-wheel drive Hyundai Genesis Coupe. Nate McLeod, the bunt single. The very first batter of the game for the Atlanta Braves, and he's still got the only hit. We were talking earlier about Chipper Jones, and right now it's 0 for his last 17 at-bats. Trying to keep that batting average in the 260s. I think the remarkable thing about Chipper Jones year in, year out, Tim, every year more walks and strikeouts, which is pretty unusual for a guy that hits for that much power.
That's it. That is a very good point. It's one of the things you check with younger hitters that are coming to the major leagues, what they did in the minor leagues, and you rarely see a minor leaguer with the same amount of walks as strikeouts.
Twelve of the last 14 seasons, more walks and strikeouts for Chipper Jones. 99 to 89 in that department this year. And there is walk number 100. Now Detweiler's got to deal with Brian McCann. Strike one to McCann. Well, once again, outstanding numbers for this guy. 21 homers, 92 runs batted in.
That leads the Braves in that department. How many times do you see a catcher with only 135 games played with 2 left in the season leading his team in RBIs? Because normally a catcher is not going to get nearly as many at bats as other position players.
Two and two.
That was an excuse me swing. He did not want to swing, but came through anyway. It looked like he may have inflamed that left wrist in the process.
Makes some contact here, chips it up in the air. Zimmerman absorbs it in foul ground. You almost get the sense that there's this kind of "ow, my head hurts" mentality right now with the Braves. When they ran for so hard for so long to get close, and then when it all kind of fell apart this week.
Well, when a balloon deflates, it deflates in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean that's just kind of the vibe that you get right now.
Yeah,
and I don't blame them. I mean they had the signs going here in Atlanta. Believe everybody did that maybe this thing could actually reach fruition, that miracle of fruition. That 15-3 run got him from 8.5 back to 2 back, and that's when everybody had a sign that said believe. I think what's a shame, because now that they're back to 6 out in the wild card, years from now when you look back, you won't necessarily remember.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
right.
Just cosmetically, it's not going to look like it was that close. Three balls a strike to Escobar. It was just a really painful way for it all to fall apart for him the other night, too, that Wednesday night loss. Bobby Cox has been around for a long time and said he could not recall a game ending the way it ended, with a runner picked off a third.
Yeah, Matt Diaz, the bases loaded.
He's a great base runner, too.
Right.
We'll talk more about that in just a bit. The double play will end the inning, and it saves 2-0 Nationals today. The playoff picture going forward. The Braves thought to have a shot at it with that miracle sprint that petered out on them. "14 years in a row in the postseason" at one point for Bobby Cox and these Braves. That is a record for a professional sports team. Name the sport. Had not been done.
A lot of people in baseball may forget that Bobby Cox brought the Toronto Blue Jays to within one game of the World Series back in 1985. They were ahead of the Kansas City Royals with George Brett. Brett Saberhagen's first year that year with the Royals. They were up 3-1. Royals came back to win 3 in a row. And then in the World Series, the Cardinals were up 3-1 against the Royals, and then the Royals came back and beat the Cardinals 3 in a row.
Another compelling World Series that had really Game 6 be more compelling than Game 7.
Yeah, Don Dinkinger, the umpire at first base, and the bad call on Jorge Orta. That St. Louis has really never forgotten.
No, still. Harris down on strikes. We're checking the Hyundai in-game box score for the Washington Nationals, introducing the all-new 306 horsepower rear-wheel drive Hyundai Genesis Coupe. Yeah, Game 7, for all the fever pitch of that, was an absolute annihilation. It was an 11-0 final. Kansas City over St. Louis.
Joaquin Andujar started that game, was ejected in the game along with Whitey Herzog.
Had that major meltdown.
Yeah, I think it was 11-0 Kansas City.
Darryl Motley caught the ball to end it.
Yeah, good going.
This settles nothing. That ball caught off the bat of Elijah Dukes by Prado.
Even that was not embarrassing.
No. Duly noted, sir. I got you. All right, back to Wednesday when the Braves had it get away. This ball getting away at a home plate. And poor Matt Diaz, who's got a long time to think about that. But as Bobby Cox said, that's our best base runner right there. It can happen, and it did happen. And actually, that is what clinched the division for the Phillies. They didn't know that at the time. About 40 seconds after that play happened, the Phillies game was over. But nobody in Philly was really paying much attention to that crazy play here. Strike 2 to Zimmerman. But anyway, the Braves should be commended for how they hung in there and how they fought. Kind of re-energized the city baseball-wise for September. Rolling into right field, a base hit for Zimmerman, who's now 2 for 3.
Billy DeMars was a coach, a batting instructor for the Phillies back in the late 70s. He was formerly with the Baltimore Orioles organization, and I remember his comment once when he was talking about Earl Weaver. He said, you know, the thing about Weaver is you've got to beat him. And I've always kept that in mind when thinking about other managers of that ilk, and Bobby Cox is one of them. And that might be the greatest trait.
Well, look where the second baseman Prado is positioned, undone.
Right. It might be the greatest thing that can be said about a manager and his legacy is you've got to beat him, and that's the case with Cox.
With Bobby Cox, 2-0 Washington, middle 5. New center fielder for the Washington Nationals, Justin Maxwell, takes over for Willie Harris, who apparently tweaked something that last time up. That ball served toward short, and there once again is Ian Desmond, just showing off right now. What a day he's having.
What a day he's having against Garrett Anderson. He goes to his left the first time to make the play. Then he goes to his right. Garrett's probably thinking there are two of them out there. There are two Desmonds out there.
Well, he's also smashed that home run today. Escobar has bounced out to him twice. Anderson has hit looping line drives to him twice. Now Omar Infante. And back to Willie Harris. Let's see what we can pick up on that last at bat.
Looked like a change-up away, and the minute Willie swung it, looked like he's that oblique muscle. Don't know, but he was in pain immediately right there. Ow.
That would explain why Justin Maxwell is now in center. Jim Riggleman is heading out there along with the training staff, and not sure what this is about here with 2 out in the 5th.
That could be a nail problem. Callus, blister, and it looks like Ross Detweiler's year is over.
Well, but right now, 2 outs, 5th inning. You need 1 more out to qualify for the win, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Now they're going to, no, he's going to be left in there, but Jim probably saying, okay, we'll leave you in to get 1 more out.
They'll do that. We'll do this. A DirecTV game break. And Michael Kadire swing and a miss. Zach Greinke got him. With 2nd and 3rd, Alex Gordon pops out. This is in the 5th inning. Nick Blackburn escapes the threat. It stays 0-0. Royals and the Twins on to the 6th. Cy Young candidate Zach Greinke, and the Twins have drawn him twice in the last week and a half.
They faced him last Sunday also.
And again, it's between the Tigers and the Twins to win the Central. Here are your brackets. The Yankees await the winner of that AL Central, and that bottom tier has been locked up for a little while now, and it seems like it's just a rite of October now. Seems like every year now the Angels play the Red Sox.
Only question now is whether they play them Wednesday or Thursday of next week.
There's LaRoche with a foul. Well, the Red Sox, the last 13 playoff games they've had with the Angels, the Red Sox have won 12 of them, going all the way back to that incredible 1986 ALCS that they had. A rope from Adam LaRoche up into the sunshine, and making the catch with a bit of a lunge out there is Dukes to end things in the 5th. So Detweiler has qualified for a win today with a 1-hitter.
Put your glove where you think it is.
By KFC, join Grilled Nation. Try a 2-piece meal of Kentucky grilled chicken for just $3.99. And by Sears. Sears, life well spent. Josh Willingham to lead it off against Jair Jurgens in the 6th. Does so by hoisting it up in the air towards second base. All right, so Tim McCarver's already on record as saying there's nothing in baseball that should be termed embarrassing, and I'm just throwing that out there.
I retract that. This is embarrassing.
See, you're laughing. I mean,
you know when I started laughing? About 11:30 today, when I saw what Joe Buck did last night on Conan O'Brien.
Now that's embarrassing. We might be able to show you that too. As
that was
Desmond
hilarious.
Dancing Joe, you want to see Dancing Joe?
Dancing Joe, here it is.
Now, did Conan have this idea before or after the concussion is what I want to know. This is good for our network.
Flash dance? Have no idea what that is.
All I know is we're never going to see it again.
Joe and Troy Aikman are awaiting the game in Denver tomorrow, the Denver Broncos and the Dallas Cowboys. So while Joe was out west, he decided to stop in and see Conan O'Brien, and he actually did that before a playoff game, the Eagles and the Cardinals last year, as he told Conan last night. But that was really funny, and Conan O'Brien hadn't seen it either.
I think Tony Romo and Josh McDaniels look like they're exactly the same age.
They do.
Actually, McDaniels is 32, and his team is 3-0. Some unbelievable defense. You'll see that on Fox tomorrow. Check your local listings. You'll not see Dancing Joe, though, probably.
No.
It's a 5-pitch inning. Thank goodness. I don't know what else we could have showed that would have gotten us shimmying up the Emmy list. Yeah, baby. 2-0. Washington. For 5 innings. Now on comes Saul Rivera. And it's not gone nearly as well this year for Rivera as in prior opportunities. He's allowed 7 home runs in 34 innings. There was a time not too long ago that In fact, it was 2007, Tim. He faced 373 straight batters at one point that year without allowing a home run. There have been a couple times this year he's allowed 2 in a week. Not likely to give up a home run here. Jair Jurgens, the pitcher. Down in the count 0-2, though he did draw a walk earlier today.
Well, Bobby Cox is rewarding Jurgens for the job he has done for the Braves this year. 213 innings of work, and that's why he's allowed to hit to lead off the 6th inning.
Now, he has thrown 13 consecutive strikes over a couple innings, has Jurgens. So we will see him again when the Nationals bat in the 7th. Nate McLouth, one of 7 center fielders the Braves have used this year. Used to be they would use 2 a year. Andrew Jones and then whoever would play the other 5 or 6 games that Andrew Jones didn't play. McLouth coming in from the Pirates in early June.
It just struck me that Conan O'Brien probably allowed Joe Buck to a dancing segment last night because Rio de Janeiro was awarded the Olympics for the year 2016, and Joe was just celebrating. So that was what a perfect time to show that last night.
Joe's salute to Carnival was
Carnival, yeah. Exactly. Copacabana Beach, 30,000 strong yesterday, celebrating. A bit of a surprise to you, it was to me.
Yeah. Of course, the Olympics have been through this beautiful city of Atlanta.
Yep. 1996.
The 3-2 to McLouth, falling outside, so the Braves will get the tying man on. Or excuse me, the tying man to the plate as we check the Bring the Heat segment of the broadcast presented by Taco Bell. A very consistent effort from Jair Jurgens today. Again, Detweiler done after 5. Saul Rivera on now to face Martin Prado. Washington looking for a 6th consecutive win, and they've already banked an 8-game win streak this year. Cardinals don't have one of those. Tigers don't have one. The Twins don't have one. But the Washington Nationals do. There's a base hit over a leaping shortstop. Desmond has been spectacular today, but even he and Desmond couldn't get that.
Desmond has made a couple of good plays at short today. That one out of reach. You know, there was a method to our madness talking about Rio de Janeiro.
There was?
There was, because we checked to see if any Brazilian player, a player born in Brazil, had ever played in the major leagues, and the answer is no. No one from Brazil has ever had a statistic. Now, it's not to say that they were not called up being on a roster, but I talked to Joe Madden a couple of months ago, Joe, the manager of the Tampa Bay Rays, and he told me that they had a school in Brazil now, that the Tampa Bay organization saw that Brazilians were such great athletes. Of course, soccer is probably more popular in Brazil than any country, arguably, in the world. And if you can have quick feet, you can have quick hands.
Got probably the best ever player from Germany coaching at first base here for the Braves. Glenn Hubbard was born in Germany.
That's right.
Chipper Jones, the batter, will send one down the left field line into the corner and foul. Again, regarding that ALCS, the Red Sox and the Angels one division series. It's the Yankees against the AL Central winner. And out of those two brackets, that's how the ALCS will develop. Again to the left side and foul. First time the Braves have had a man in scoring position since the first inning. Rivera to Jones. Missing down and in. Chipper, by the way, just 2 for 19 career against Rivera. Was able to work the count to 2-2. One thing Chipper Jones has always had, I think, Tim, is exceptional recall. And he says he can remember pitches and pitch patterns from guys from 7, 8, 9 years ago. We'll see if he's gone to school here against Rivera. Nope, Rivera's going to get him.
Go, Mac.
Brian McCann can keep the inning going. In fact, a little base hit somewhere might tie this game. Runners at second and third, 2 out. We were talking glowingly earlier about McCann's numbers. I think the stat that you need to know that of catchers who have been around for 2,000 at-bats in their careers, only 2 have higher slugging percentages than McCann. Mike Piazza and Roy Campanella. Jim Riggleman is out to make the pitching change. Probably a double switch coming here. Ron Vallone coming on in a 2-0 game when we come back. Burke is in to catch now, and Ron Vallone is in to pitch. The Braves have runners at second and third, 2 down. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning here in Atlanta. And a chance for Brian McCann. And Malone almost throws it right away back to the screen.
Well, wouldn't you know it, they say when you go in for defense in middle to late innings, that ball has a way of finding you. And the first pitch, a good play by Burke to prevent the Braves from scoring.
McCann does have a home run in his career against Malone. That one paints the corner, 1-1. The Braves have been 2-hit today. Ross Detweiler, a guy that was initially not supposed to pitch today.
Yeah.
5 innings of 1-hit baseball. Left field base hit McCann. 1 run already in. 2 runs will score. The Braves have tied it against Washington.
Sometimes you make the right move as a manager, and that hitter, I mean a good hitter, and Brian McCann driving in runs number 93 and 94 on the year.
You said earlier, catchers by and large are not supposed to do that. But Brian McCann is fairly consistently putting up those kind of numbers now.
He really does.
Yunel Escobar with a runner on, 2 out. Slugs the first one up in the air. And Dukes will grab it. The Braves have tied it. We'll return to Atlanta after a word from your local Fox station. One-time Brave, current Washington National Pete Orr. As the 7th begins, Jair Jurgens continues on the mound, looking for his 15th win of the year. You know, Atlanta led the majors in starters ERA for 11 years in a row at one point. That all went away for a bit, obviously, but now they're top dog once again, and you're looking at a big reason why. Jair Jurgens won 13 as a rookie last year. The only Atlanta rookie to win more than that, not Glavine, not Smoltz, Craig McMurtry, back in 1983. Foul to the other side, 2-2.
I think Craig McMurtry was the starting pitcher the night that Pete Rose was going for the 45th consecutive game in a row streak back in 1978.
And then Gene Garber came on to get him the last out.
Threw him a 3-2 changeup, and Pete's never forgotten it.
Race to the bag, and Orr is out by half a step. Time for a DirecTV game break. We promised we'd keep you current on what's going on at the Metrodome. Well, Joe Mauer, MVP candidate, breaks that scoreless tie, takes a 95-mile-an-hour Greinke fastball into right field, and now, after a Delman Young bases clearing double, the Twins lead the Royals 4-0. And the Tigers are feeling the heat. And the Tigers play tonight against the Chicago White Sox. That ball over towards short off the bat of Jamie Burke. 2 down.
Tigers in Minnesota played that split doubleheader on Tuesday. The Twins won the first game. The Tigers came back behind Justin Verlander in game 2, won that game, and then won Wednesday night. They were up 3 games with 4 to play.
So look at Eric O'Flaherty up in the bullpen.
And the Minnesota Twins have come back to make it interesting. We talked about Bobby Cox earlier saying you got to beat him. Well, the same is true about Ron Gardenhire and the Minnesota Twins. They do not make it easy on anybody.
Justin Maxwell's first at bat. He came into the game to play center field after Willie Harris got hurt swinging the bat. A big, strong right-hand hitter, Justin Maxwell.
Not a bad thing to leave a taste in the mouths of the home fans with a grand slam home run to end the national season in Washington last week.
You look for bright moments this year for the Washington
right.
Nationals. That was one of them for sure. 2-2 here in Atlanta. A powerful clean without dry skin. And by Hyundai Assurance, a little certainty in uncertain times. Today's Flomax replay, that close play at first base from just a few minutes ago. Doesn't get much closer than that. In a 2-2 game between the Braves and the Washington Nationals, Ron Ballone, the former football tight end at the University of Massachusetts. And on the topic of football, tomorrow, a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader will get you going with Eli Manning and the Giants taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Or the Seahawks battle Peyton Manning and the Colts. Also have the Lions and the Bears tomorrow. And then the Cowboys and the Broncos. Tony Romo leads the Cowboys up against 3-0 Denver. Also the Rams and 49ers. Coverage begins tomorrow with America's #1 pregame show at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Check local listings for the game and start time in your area. We highlight Peyton Manning for you. 983 passing yards. That is 9 behind Phillip Rivers in San Diego. Rivers had him by 9 at the end of last year, too. The Colts are 3-0. A lot of Falcons fever around here, by the way, too. Even though they got a little dose of reality up in New England.
Losing last Sunday to the Patriots.
Garrett Anderson will step in against Ballone as soon as John Denver is done singing. On the PA here, thank God I'm a country boy here in Atlanta. This was a matchup of 23-year-old arms, Jair Jurgens and Ross Detweiler. Jurgens has got all the way so far. Detweiler was done after 5. Will not get a win today because the Braves came back with that 2-run Brian McCann single. First career scoreless start for Detweiler, for what that is worth. And Jair Jurgens again in search of win number 15. Would certainly be helped if the Braves can get a run right here. We were talking earlier, Tim, about the remarkable career of Garrett Anderson. The guy that had the World Series game-winning hit in 2002. Off a guy that is here now for Washington, Livan Hernandez.
Think about the Giants had a 5-run lead in Game 6 back in 2002. 8 outs to get. Couldn't close the Angels out. The Angels won it in 7.
Towards second base. Garrett Anderson is out number 1. Another remarkable thing about Garrett Anderson, he never seems to get hit by a pitch. It's actually happened twice this summer, but there was a stretch in his career. He went 3,800 trips to the plate without getting hit by a pitch. That's 6 years.
Well, his first step is toward first base. It's that bailout step, and guys who have that type step rarely get hit. Plus, he's a remarkable athlete. Great basketball player in high school.
Another guy like that was Ruben Sierra. Would go sometimes 4, 5, 6 years in between getting hit by a pitch, and he played every day.
Well, of course, he was a switch hitter, and switch hitters have a better view than guys who just hit one way.
One and one to Omar Infante.
Talked about the San Francisco Giants. The Giants have never won since going to San Francisco. They've never won a world championship. Last time the Giants won 55 years ago. 1954 when they beat Cleveland 4 in a row. And of course 4 years before that, everybody who's a baseball fan knows what happened.
Did the Giants win the pennant?
They did. Russ. That was Russ Hodges' call. The Giants win the pennant.
One of the great calls of all time.
13 times, I believe, right?
They're going crazy. And if you haven't had that pleasure here on this date in 1951, here you go. The shot heard around the world. Same music we used to show Joe Buck dancing, by the way, too. Adam LaRoche takes the strike.
Well, they were dancing at the Polo Grounds.
Well, there are what are called, I guess, seminal moments in every sport. And absolutely, that is one of them. And, you know, again, we're sitting not too far from where another one happened. We were talking earlier about when the Braves and Pirates were up against each other. And Sid Bream was actually in the ballpark today. And when Francisco Cabrera had the pinch hit single, and Sid Bream came lumbering around and in, how the fortunes of two franchises changed, huh?
Yeah. There's Sid.
Looks like he can still play. Adam LaRoche, deep left field. At the wall, it is caught. And Vallone is out of the inning. End of 7, tied 2-2. The 15th win of the year. Bobby Cox is giving him the chance to go get it if he gets through this inning. And the Braves can score in the bottom of inning 8. Fairly reasonable pitch count for Jair Jurgens. That's number 101. Two, 3, 4 in the Washington batting order. Elijah Dukes, who walked way back in the first. And the guy who's been getting on base a ton of late. His on base percentage the last 5 weeks is about .450. Before that, it was .292. And again, Tim, as the Nationals try to piecemeal things together, they figure out what they've got going forward. I guess you do now try to figure out, okay, what's a working part here and what we're jigsawing together. Elijah Dukes, if he can do this kind of thing, would definitely be part of the solution, though he strikes out here. Let's quickly get you to our Bank of America fan cam. If you want to show the world it's not like it's love, get MLB banking only from Bank of America. Fan Appreciation Weekend here in Atlanta. And again, they watch their Braves surge over the last couple of weeks leading up to this final week. It was not to be. Strike one to Zimmerman.
Talking about Elijah Dukes as an individual and the Nats as an organization, it's much more difficult to build a franchise now built around patience because you're dealing with an impatient public, not only in Washington but anywhere. And it's hard to convince your fan base that you are trying to win and at the same time build around young players such as Elijah Dukes and Ryan Zimmerman.
Strike three called to Zimmerman. Strikeout number 9 for Jurgens, one off a career high.
We talked about it earlier, but there is no question that Ryan Zimmerman is the face of this franchise. Went to the University of Virginia from nearby Washington, and he is some player, an all-star this year, having by far his best year.
And defensively, second to none out there at third. Adam Dunn takes outside. He's got the hustle, he's got the range, the great reflexes.
Yeah, he'll be a Gold Glover this year, I think.
I think he's a very aggressive third baseman, Tim, and what I mean by that is that he's just never content to not try for the 5-4-3 double play on a grounder hit his way. You know, some guys will just kind of have that momentary hesitation. Nope, not Zimmerman. He's going to gun it. Two and one the count to Adam Dunn, who's got 38 home runs. If he can somehow hit 2 this final weekend, this would be incredible. They have exactly 40 for a 5th year in a row. He's hit the big 4-0 4 straight seasons on the button. And no, that's never happened with any number other than 0 in baseball. 5 straight years of the exact same number with home runs. Outside, ball 4. Dunn is the go-ahead man. Josh Willingham, the hitter, for a Washington team that has won 5 straight. You made the comment earlier, Tim, if this game had something to do with the postseason. I think it's entirely possible. 2-2, and Jurgens kind of nearing the end. He's at about 110 pitches. You might see the Braves going to the bullpen, but right now it's Jurgens. Obviously, still looking for that 15th win. And if you take him out of the game here, obviously that doesn't happen.
Yeah, there's no way he'll come out of the game unless the Nationals can take the lead in this inning. He is scheduled to lead off in the bottom of the 8th inning, so he'll certainly be allowed to pitch this inning. What are you talking about? Josh Willingham, he's 14 for his last 103.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing you don't want to take into the winter. A 14 for 103 skid.
Driving that one, but foul. Willingham was talked about at the trade deadline as a guy that might be moved somewhere, but obviously he stayed put. Moylan's the righty, O'Flaherty is the lefty. Jair Jurgens, this is now 26 of 34 starts, Tim, where he's given up 2 runs or fewer. That's pretty impressive.
It is.
In shallow left center field, the tough times continue for Willingham. Jair Jurgens off the mound. If the Braves score right here, right now, chance for Jurgens to be the winner today. Burger King, who reminds you to have it your way. And by Progressive Insurance, the freedom to name your price. Brooks Conrad to bat for the first time. He will step in there for Jair Jurgens, pinch hitting. Quality work again from the 23-year-old Jurgens. A mid-twos ERA for the season. And Conrad behind 0-2 against Valone. Washington scoring in the first and in the fourth. The Braves came back with a 2-out, 2 RBI single from Brian McCann to tie it up in the sixth inning. Conrad down on strikes. Check those scores from out of town. And look at the Royals coming back in Minnesota. 4-3 now in the eighth inning.
They came back in last night's game. They were trailing 10-0 at one time.
Final was 10-7.
Yeah.
The pesky Kansas City Royals. Nate McLouth has been on base a couple times. Bunt, single, and a walk. Part of that Royals comeback, by the way, an Alex Gordon home run. McLouth shoots it into left center field, and with a dive, it gets away from Maxwell. By the time he finds it, McLouth is at second base.
It's going to be a double for Nate McLouth, and sometimes outfielders are too much in that prevent defense. Maxwell really too deep in center field, and he didn't realize it until the ball is off the glove. So it's a double for McLouth with one out here in the eighth inning. Sure you run into that doing the San Diego Chargers, Josh.
Ground can't cause the fumble, too.
Well, yeah, that too, but too much of a prevent defense.
Yeah.
Going into it too early and too deep. Some outfielders do that.
Maxwell is a guy that's got a lot of range, but just unable to stick the landing right there. The pitching change coming in a 2-2 game in the eighth. We'll be right back on Fox. Here when inheriting runners. He's been nailed, so he inherits Nate McLouth at second base. Martin Prado, the batter, been on base a couple times in this one. A 2-2 tie in the 8th. If not Prado, then maybe Chipper Jones can make a winner potentially out of Jair Jurgens.
Well, you have one out, McLeod with speed on it at second base. It is best for base runners to take the extra base or steal a base on a relief pitcher, because when relievers come in the game, the only thing they're worried about is the hitter. They could care less about the runner at second base, but with one out, a good chance for McLeod. Second baseman Pete Orr is not really holding him on.
As it turns out, Prado is down on strikes.
Well, that's a good job by Bergman. A disappearing slider. And now that walk Chipper Jones, one would think. Or if not walking, pitch very carefully to him. Kind of choose your poison. Chipper at the plate and Brian McCann on deck.
So Brian McCann has worn out Bergman. That is one thing we do know. 21 at bats against him. McCann has hit 4 home runs and has 4 other hits too. So 8 for 21, 4 jacks. Maybe that's why they're taking their chances with Chipper Jones. A walk for Chipper in this one. He's also hit the ball on the ground to second base a couple times. He is 0 for his last 18.
Another reason they're pitching to Chipper in this situation.
Yeah. Plenty of skins on the wall, though, as you probably know, for Chipper Jones. He's driven in some key runs for a lot of years here. One dropping outside, 2-2. The Braves had trailed this game 2-0 into the 6th. It was McCann that got him even. And again, he looms on deck as you check that update from Minnesota. 4-4 now in the 8th inning. Got him. And McCann stays on deck. The game stays tied 2-2. City Royals with that got to within 4-3. They would end up tying it.
Wow.
On of all things, a double play. 4-4 in the 8th. We are 2-2 in the 9th. And Ian Desmond, who has had a huge afternoon, now has to deal with Soriano. Plenty of sparkling defense from Desmond. He's also hit a home run. First time that Soriano has been in this many games in a season. This is appearance number 76.
Peter Moylan has been in 85 games. Mike Gonzalez has been in 80 games. And Soriano was 76. That is a big load for that trio.
Big cut by Desmond, but down he goes. A 95-mile-an-hour heat. Overall, though, outstanding work for Desmond today. Pepsi, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball, congratulating young Ian Desmond. Today's MLB Clutch Performer of the game, presented by Pepsi. To learn more about the MLB Clutch Performer of the Month award, go to PepsiClutch.com. Now Soriano against Mike Morse, who was batting for the first time today, and he's been a nice find for Washington, former Seattle Mariner. Kind of brash and breezy out there in Seattle. A guy with a lot of confidence when he first came up. They told the story in spring training, Tim, in Seattle as a rookie. He called his manager Big Dog. And he soon realized that maybe he should wait a few years before calling his manager Big Dog.
Yeah, here he is with the Nationals now.
Where he's an emerging at dog. 2-1 the count. No, they expect some good things out of Mike Morse. He's a guy that gives them some flexibility, can play a bunch of different positions. Only 9 total hits in the game here. They've been tough to come by today. 5 for the Nationals, 4 for the Braves. 3-2.
Talking about the Seattle Mariners, they've won 83 games this year.
Don Wakamatsu has done a great job
He really
with that
has.
team.
He really has.
They won 61 games last year. So to be in the mid-80s the next year, that's
yes, sir.
Solid work. Down too low. 1 on, 1 out. We're checking out the Just for Men hair color holds leaders. Just as these pitchers keep their team in the game, you too can stay in the game with Just for Men hair color. You were talking about Peter Moylan, who was not allowed a home run all year. Getting into, what did you say, 85 games?
85 games, yep.
Pete Orr will take a swat at one, send it foul into the crowd of 28,278 here in Atlanta.
Fan Appreciation Weekend.
On just a perfect day for baseball, getting into the evening now. Updating in the 8th inning, we're told that Michael Kadire just hit one out. I think that place is going bananas in Minneapolis. 5-4 Twins.
It's going just the opposite as a town about 1,200 miles to the east. That's Motor City, Detroit. And that game starts in about 33 minutes.
So do the guys get a little bit more?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They watch that on the clubhouse TV?
Absolutely. Every pitch, every breath. Absolutely. And the players aren't the only ones. I'll guarantee you in Comerica Park, they have the TVs going in every little portal in that ballpark. New York Yankees also very, very much involved in the outcome of that game, because if the Minnesota Twins win, that means Justin Verlander will have to start tomorrow, and there will be no holding him out to start against the Yankees either Wednesday or Thursday of next week.
Wave and a miss. And Pete Orr disposed of for out number 2.
There are very few pitchers in either league who has the easy motion of Soriano. That easy motion, the ball's on top of guys.
Yeah, you're not going to hear him grunt as the ball gets to the plate.
Has the perfect baseball, those life muscles, those long, easy. Guy that you look at and you say, you probably never have a sore arm. A guy like Chris Short was like that with the Philadelphia Phillies. Great career with the Phillies. I believe he ended his career with Milwaukee. Never had a sore arm. 2 outings in spring training, ready to go.
As the Tigers potentially fade, interesting we bring up Chris Short. Chris Short and Jim Bunning started 10 and 9 times respectively for those 1964 Phillies. They were 6 ahead with 16 to play.
Major League Baseball, the Major League Baseball Network, and Bob Costas just did a special about the 64 Phillies. I think it aired last night, but funny you should bring that up.
Cardinals won it. They beat out the Reds as well.
I know.
You were there. But for those in our audience who weren't, I just thought I'd put that out there.
That's fine.
Yeah. Down the right field line, that's fouled by Jamie Burke.
Won it on the last day of the season that year after losing 2 games in a row on a Friday night and a Saturday against the New York Mets. Bob Gibson had a complete game loss on Friday night, and less than 48 hours later came back and pitched 4 1/3.
Wow.
Think about anybody doing that now. He got the win on Sunday afternoon.
Another foul by Burke.
Fastball away.
Busted bat, and the baseball is going to wind up in center field, caught without a problem, and now the Braves looking to win it in walk-off fashion when we come back. Brian McCann has already driven in a couple runs and now has his shot against Bergman. We mentioned earlier there's a pretty good history for McCann against Bergman. 8 for 21 with 4 of the hits leaving the yard. Escobar and Anderson to follow. On Fan Appreciation Weekend, what would be more appreciated by the fans than a little walk-off drama in the bottom of the 9th inning?
Right.
3-1 the count.
No ideal hitting situation right here. Brian McCann will try to choose a down and in fastball. Try to end it for the Braves.
Three and two. On the ground, past the mound, base hit for McCann. He's done it to Bergman again. Now we'll get you a direct TV game break, too, as McCann comes out of the game for a pinch runner. Getting you up to speed on Minnesota and Kansas City and all that entails. Michael Kadyr's home run. Off-speed pitch, hammers it out in the bottom of the 8th inning. Joe Nathan is on to try to close it in the 9th now. The curtain call for Kadyr. 5-4 Minnesota. Putting the pressure on the Tigers. Gorecki's the pinch runner. Escobar is the hitter. And the bunt. Perfect. Winning run at second base.
Now I would think that Garrett Anderson would be walked intentionally. Jim Riggleman figuring that Omar Infante would be the easier for Bergman. Wow.
Well, Garrett Anderson with a lot of experience in this situation.
Does this surprise you?
Yeah, a little bit. Although Anderson hitless in his career against Bergman, but kind of a short sample anyway. And
well, then if you're going to miss, you miss away 4 times, and now here comes Riggleman.
Yeah.
I don't think you can allow this to happen. I think you've got to walk him.
I was like
Make Infante beat you.
I was like that Whitey Herzog theory. He would say, pitch to the guy with the skinnier wallet. Meaning the guy getting paid has probably been there, done that.
Yeah, that's right.
Two runs, 5 hits, no errors both ways. Garrett Anderson, who got so used to being in the postseason with the Angels, he'll be watching from his couch this go around in 2009. Oh, they're fearless. They're going at him.
You see that look of Garrett Anderson to the dugout of the Washington Nationals? Hey, Quiskel, now he hears talking, and now they're going to walk him. What if he ends the game on the 1-0 pitch?
Right.
You know, Jim said, I went out and I talked to him, and then I came back, and the next pitch was a strike. Now you're forced to pitch to him. And Garrett Anderson was looking toward the dugout because Riggleman was saying, hey, trying to get Burke's attention to put him on.
Kind of a wry little smile there from Garrett Anderson.
Yeah.
That's the most expression you're going to see from Garrett Anderson.
Right. Any way you look at it, this is the right move.
Omar Infante has a chance to be the hero now. Adam LaRoche on deck.
Ooh.
Interesting to show the bunt.
What was that all about? Probably taking all the way, because under no circumstances do you even think about a bunt in this situation, even if it's for a base hit. One of those situations in baseball that even if it works, it's the wrong play.
Towards second base. Nationals trying to turn it. They do turn it. And the Braves will not win it in the bottom of the ninth. They'll have to hope for the bottom of the 10th in a similar opportunity. 2-2. Extra innings coming. In comes Peter Moylan. A remarkable season. In our Holiday Inn game-changing play, signs of change are everywhere. The double play induced by Bergman to get the Nationals and Braves into the 10th inning. Nationals have turned 3 double plays in this game. So Justin Maxwell, a guy with some home run potential, no doubt, but the guy on the mound hasn't given one up all year. That's amazing, because he's now pitching in his 86th game. It's a major league record, the most games without a homer allowed in a season. Moylan to Maxwell. 2-0, and we can now say it has gone final. Minnesota 5, Kansas City 4. Joe Nathan the save. Michael Kadire the game-winning homer in the bottom of the 8th. It was 10 years ago that the 99 Mets were trailing by a couple games with 3 games to go. They made that work out for them. We'll see if indeed the 2009 season has some magic in Minnesota. Yes, he did. 3-2. So let's see, Tim. The Tiger fans, most of them probably settled in right now. And the game starts in about 15 or 20 minutes.
Right.
Some time to chew on what happened at the Metrodome today. The Yankees await the winner of the AL Central. Will it be the Tigers? Will it be the Twins? And will there have to be that one-game playoff after Monday Night Football between the Packers and the Vikings?
To repeat, the New York Yankees, who have the best record in baseball, are already satisfied that Minnesota has won that game to take it to tomorrow because Justin Verlander now has to pitch. So I guess you could call it the Verlander effect. And it really is a Verlander effect because he may be the top pitcher in baseball, certainly one of them. Justin 18-9 on the year. He leads the majors in strikeouts with 264. And look at that earned run average. He has been dominant. That's why the Yankees don't want to face him in the first round, in the first game, either next Wednesday or next Thursday.
Is he your Cy Young vote?
He is. Yes. I know the sentiment is with Zach Greinke, but mine is with Verlander.
You hate to say it comes down to one start or one game, but you know what? I mean, for those of us on the fence, not like I've got a vote, but if Verlander, let's say, in that kind of game, strike three taken by Maxwell. Let's say he goes out, pitches a 3-hitter tomorrow, gets that 19th win, and gets the Tigers into the playoffs. I mean, you can't sell that as anything but the big game performance. That might break a tie in somebody's mind.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Zach Greinke came in today with a 2.06 ERA. Felix Hernandez, rock solid. CC Sabathia. I'm going to put Mariano Rivera on that list, too.
Sure, absolutely. Rivera on the cover of Sports Illustrated last week. What a career. What a career this guy's had. Moreland. He went 10 years without pitching in the major leagues. 10. Without pitching, period.
Now, like it's no big deal. 86 games, hasn't given up a home run.
Signed with the Twins, 96, 97. Then went back to his native Australia. Didn't show up again until 2006. Had Tommy John surgery. He dropped down, picked up 10 miles an hour on his fastball. And look at the job he is doing. However, we will say this.
Okay.
That Ryan Zimmerman won the first game in Washington Nationals ballpark, their new ballpark, with a home run off Peter Moreland.
Just throwing it out there, huh?
Just throwing it out there.
All right. This one doesn't have quite the fever pitch surrounding it.
No.
But here is take two, Moylan and Zimmerman. And actually since then, and including then, 4 for 8 overall for Zimmerman against Moylan. Well, and he's steered into a hitter's count here.
Yeah. Ryan with 33 home runs on the year. He'll look for something inside to hit right here. To combat that, Moylan will try to stay away. Oh.
A rocket to left field. It is off the top of the wall. You almost had the call of the century right there, my friend. It's a double, and it just missed being the first home run allowed all year by Peter Moylan.
By about 2 feet. Talk about shocking. Looking for a fastball in. He gets it. Just below the yellow line.
That close.
My goodness.
To you being replayed like Mike Blowers all over the place. You see that one, by the way?
Mike Blowers.
Mike Blowers made a call the other day for the Seattle Mariners.
No, I didn't.
Tell you the story in a sec here as Adam Dunn takes outside a few times for the intentional pass. Yeah, on the Mariners broadcast, they have, kind of that pick-to-click thing. What do you think's going to happen? Who's going to have the big day? And Mike Blowers said, I'm feeling it for Matt Tuiasosopo. First big league home run, second inning, 3-1 count on a fastball. Left center field, second deck. And that's exactly what happened.
3-1.
3-1.
3-run homer.
Everything
First home run. Unbelievable.
Everything he predicted. So you were close. Guzman's going to grab a bat. Christian Guzman will come up with 2 on, 2 out. Pitcher spot in the order here, so this makes sense. Christian Guzman, a 50 RBI season. Former Minnesota Twin. Well, he was a big part of it when the Twins started getting it right. After they really could not get out of their own way for a while in the late 90s and early part of this decade. It seemed like every other game, Christian Guzman was hitting a triple somewhere on that carpet at the Metrodome.
Led the league a couple of years in triples.
Saw Eric O'Flaherty getting ready out there for Atlanta. A strike to Guzman. Atlanta's going to have 8-9-1 in the order coming up in the bottom of the 10th inning. This one getting deep into the bullpens, but of course this deep into the season, you got a lot of spare parts hanging around with the expansion of the rosters.
8-9-1, a lot better than 9-1-1, and Bobby Cox knows that.
Guzman tags it to right field. That ball jumps to the warning track and will skip up against the wall. Infante, remember, doesn't play right field that often. That ball gobbled him up. 2 runs coming in. And it's 4-2 Nationals. Zimmerman almost hit it out, and then very soon after that, Guzman gave it a ride.
Like a hanging breaking ball. And Guzman just rifles it over Infante's head in right field. And the Nationals take the lead again. All the way from first base, Adam Dunn scoring behind Zimmerman.
And the Nationals looking for that 6th win in a row. They've taken the 4-2 lead in the 10th. Desmond had a home run blast earlier in this one. Off the bench, Christian Guzman gets it done. Late swing from Desmond. That was just the 3rd successful pinch hit for Guzman this year. And Adam Dunn, for a guy who's what, 6'13", gets around the bases pretty well. Inside corner to Desmond, 2-2. That was a large human being right there.
The big guy.
Recruited to be a football quarterback. By the University of Texas. Three-two delivery now, and a bouncing ball back to Moylan. Out of the inning, but after 2 runs scored. Back to Atlanta after a word from your local Fox station. Lager. And from Atlanta, the Washington Nationals now making some defensive changes, having taken a 4-2 lead. Mike Morse comes in from left field to play first. And a change out there in left field, that's Jorge Padilla in his 12th professional season. And finally got to the big leagues this year. Here is Zach Segovia. What a chance for him now. The Dallas native just called up when the AAA season ended, and he had a great year at Syracuse. Minor league free agent, originally Phillies property, and a chance to knock down a save right here. Christian Guzman's pinch hit 2-run single has Washington on top. Actually a double for Guzman. And Kelly Johnson has come out on deck. That's the pitcher spot in the order. Well, the Nationals have held the Braves to only 5 hits today. There was one real big one from Brian McCann. 2 out, 2 RBI single in inning number 6. One and 2 the count to LaRoche. Center field sinking, and with a dive, it's the second time that has happened to Maxwell today. But for years here, Andrew Jones patrolled center field for the home team and would play such a shallow center field. That would be helping Maxwell today. Yeah, well, there's no reason to play that extra step or two deep. We talked about the time before when McLeod doubled, that it's a situation where you're playing that prevent defense. It's more or less understandable. But with the Nats up by 2, then you're not playing the prevent defense anymore. But that's, in fairness to Maxwell, that's one of those balls that looked like it was hit harder than it was. Right, a big swing that was taken. That first step back and then too late coming in. Here's Kelly Johnson. And he sends one deep in the air, left center field to the track. Skipping up against the wall. LaRoche comes around third. He will score. It is 4-3. What has been a lost season for Kelly Johnson. He finds a little something here in the 10th inning today. Greeting Segovia's first fastball on the outside corner to left center field. And the Braves have Maxwell going back and forth and back and forth. He's in that defensive pendulum in center field, not knowing how deep to play. And now Segovia will get a talking to as we check that final from Philadelphia. The Marlins 4 and the Phillies 3. The winner of the West, whether that's the Dodgers or the Rockies, will secure home field advantage throughout the National League playoffs, right? Right. Again, that's remarkable that the Rockies have a chance to overtake the Dodgers as we come down to this final weekend. Clayton Kershaw is on the mound tonight for the LA Dodgers. Another Dallas native. We're talking about a Dallas, Texas guy out there on the mound here, Zach Segovia. With the corner men creeping in. And Nate McLeod taking outside. Action has begun again in the Nationals bullpen. Kensing has gotten up. High pop-up from Nate McLeod for the first out of the inning. The day had been going pretty well for Nate McLeod. A couple of hits and a walk. Now the batter will be Martin Prado. And Prado essentially took Kelly Johnson's job from him. Now he's trying to get Kelly Johnson around and in. Chipper Jones looms on deck. After Jones, by the way, normally we'd be saying it's Brian McCann after Chipper Jones, but remember McCann got lifted from the game. David Ross is the catcher instead, and he'd be batting after Chipper Jones. Another pop-up. Wow, not the time to miscommunicate out there, but no harm, no foul, 2 down, and the whole thing is left to Chipper Jones.
Well, your point is well taken. Normally you wouldn't intentionally walk a batter representing the winning run, but I think in this situation you would, because McCann's out of the ballgame. As Jim Riggleman wants to tempt fate again. He did it the last time, but you could understand it. Now Greg Norton, who is not good at, I think this is a right move.
Even though Chipper Jones is 0 for his last, what is it, 20 now?
Yeah, I don't care though. You can't, as we said, tempt fate again.
Yeah.
Leave it up to the pinch hitter. Because Norton has not had a good year pinch hitting. He is 10 for 67 as a pinch hitter.
Segovia, who's never had a big league save, being asked to preserve what is now a 4-3 lead. Again, Logan Kensing is in the bullpen for Jim Riggleman.
The thing about this, you know, it's not an overstatement to say that if Riggleman wins this game because he walked Chipper Jones, it would enhance him coming back next year. I mean, that's not overstating things. Mike Rizzo has said he's done a good job. But whether he comes back next year, he'll be in the mix. And when you make a move like this and it works, then that adds to your resume.
You got to pay attention to that, right?
That's right.
Norton kind of huffing and puffing right there as he swings, and it's 0-1. The hits are even, 7 aside. The tying man at second, the winning run at first. And again, they donated the winning run, potentially.
Yeah.
Said, go ahead, take first base. They trusted Segovia can get Norton. He's close to doing it, too. Late swing. It is 1-2. 2 on, 2 out.
I think you throw that pitch again. When Norton can't catch up with it, you don't help him out by speeding up the bat head.
He's been late on it twice.
Yeah.
This ball's up the middle. Norton comes through with 2 strikes on him. Tie game 4-4. No longer the lead on the resume.
Same pitch. Outside corner. What a job by Norton. The game's enchanting at times and cruel at other times.
Boy, some key pinch hits here in the 10th inning. Both sides.
Yeah.
Yunel Escobar can win the game now for Atlanta. 4-4 in the bottom of the 10th. A busted bat. And a 4-4 tie at the end of 10 in Atlanta. Eli Manning and the Giants taking on the Chiefs. Here you see some of the other games going early and then late. Tony Romo leading the Cowboys against the undefeated Broncos. Or you might get the Rams and the surprising 49ers. Coverage beginning tomorrow with America's #1 pregame show at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Check local listings for the game and start time in your area. Clint Salmons now. A local product taking over behind the plate. Kelly Johnson stays in the game at second. Prado moves to third. And Manny Acosta will take over on the mound in what is suddenly a really interesting ball game. Atlanta.
It really has been.
The team's trading deuces in the 10th inning. 2 in the top, 2 in the bottom. Right away, Mike Morse will ground out. 3 run-producing pinch hits. Because you have to add a 10th inning into that mix to see how it got to 4-4. And talking 4-4, that's the number that Pete Orr wore as an Atlanta Brave. He wore 4 for Bobby Orr. He's a native Canadian. Not related to the legendary hockey player, but as a tribute, liked to wear number 4 when it was available here in Atlanta. A splintered bat, and it is a base hit to left field. Got ahead in the count 2-0. Didn't exactly drive it, but gets the job done. Now Jamie Burke. A 17-year pro career for Jamie Burke. Most of that in the minors. I guess you cast as Crash Davis after a while. That catcher who's just kind of been around but didn't get the shot for a while. Gets the bunt down, and it's dropped by Acosta. He recovers.
And rarely will you see a manager sacrificing with 1 out unless there's a pitcher at the plate. But Jim Riggleman hoping for that 1 shot. Nationals now have 1, not 2 shots to drive in that winning run or the go-ahead run.
Justin Maxwell, who hit that game-ending slam off a K-Rod against the New York Mets that you talked about just a little while ago. He can't end this game, but he can certainly tilt it in the favor of the Washington Nationals. And as you said, you talk about fan appreciation night. Appreciate that. The walk-off salami. That broke a 150-game Washington losing streak when they had been trailing after 8. That's a guy who played his college ball at the University of Maryland. Bethesda, Maryland native, right near D.C. A fly ball to right field. That ball's got a shot. It goes to the track. It goes to the wall. He hit it out. Maybe ruining Atlanta's fan appreciation weekend. Well, he's had some adventures in the field out there, but at the plate, it's been going well of late. He just drove one out to right field, and again, the Nationals toggle on top.
Boy, you talk about a ball jumping off a bat. Crushes that ball the other way. Believe me, when you hit a ball that far the other way and it gets out that quickly, you have some awesome strength. That was impressive.
And again, he's only in the game because Willie Harris got hurt swinging the bat back in the 5th inning. That ball clocked foul by Dukes. Well, he hasn't been in the big leagues long, but he's definitely got a penchant for the big moment, does Justin Maxwell. On the ground, second base to Kelly Johnson. 2 in the top of the 10th, 2 in the bottom of the 10th, now 2 in the top of the 11th. And Atlanta, you've got next. does have one career big league save. That was as a Florida Marlin 3 years ago. This game was just kind of there for a while. First 8 innings, but now the last 2.5 innings, there have been some fireworks.
There is a there.
Garrett Anderson against Kensing. And the bottom of the 11th begins.
Oh, Josh, now that you mention it, there were scheduled fireworks. If this game were a night game, it was originally scheduled at 7:10, but because of the situation last week, changed to a day game, a 4:10 start because of the Fox starting time. So they have scratched the fireworks for tonight after the game.
Grounded to first. Anderson is out. Of course, who knew? We're playing deep enough into this one that it's getting close to dark now.
Well, I was thinking about the most memorable game that I have ever done as a broadcaster, and that was a start on July 4th, 1985, by the Mets, double rain delay. Doc Gooden started the game, and fireworks were planned that night after July 4th. Well, the game ends at 3:58 in the morning, and Ted Turner fired them off. Why not? 4 o'clock in the morning, light them up, baby. There were more people at Fulton County Stadium at that time of morning than there were when the game began.
Wow.
There were like 2,500 more people. You know, the bar is closed in Atlanta.
Sure. Where else can you go?
Yeah, the people came. Hey, the lights are on. We'll fire the fireworks anyway. And that's what he did. It was hilarious. One of the more memorable games that I've ever seen or done. And the Mets still have the record for most runs scored in the top of the 19th inning. They scored 5 that night.
Omar Infante will take down an outside. How did the neighbors feel about that 3:50 a.m. fireworks show?
That is an interesting question. I'm sure not too good. Rick Camp hit his only major league home run that night, and the dangerous Camp was on deck with the bases loaded when the game ended, representing the tying run. You talk about one of the games that you could talk about for 10 hours.
And they do tend to pop up out of nowhere, too, you know?
They do.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Infante walks here and then LaRoche hits one out, we're at least putting this one on the fringes. On 3-1, though, he pops it up. Out number 2. And that has been the number. With 2 games left in the season. 2 in the top of the 10th, 2 in the bottom of the 10th, and then 2 in the top of the 11th. As Washington leads, and it's up to Adam LaRoche. So these Washington Nationals a chance to make it 6 straight wins. And obviously this has been a tough season. They've got 103 losses. They're going to be picking first in the draft. There's no one that will have 103 losses besides Washington. But they've already had an 8-game win streak. They got a chance to close with a 6 or a 7. Last game of the season tomorrow for both these teams. And again, the intrigue shifts to that American League Central. Will it be the last games tomorrow for the Tigers and the Twins, or will they have to play an extra 163rd game on Tuesday? One-two pitch. Another pop-up, and this one heading foul. And that Tigers game tonight is underway. No score, bottom 1. Minnesota already won this afternoon, 5-4. Kensing has waited 3 years and 3 months for his second major league save. He can wait another, 30 seconds here? Again, a full day of football tomorrow on Fox. Some great games on tap. That late game, the Cowboys and the Broncos, where Jay Cutler used to be. In there to end the ball game. Washington has won 6 straight. The Braves have lost 5 in a row. Your final in extra innings, 6-4 Washington. We're coming back to Atlanta for more post-game coverage right after these messages.